Is it possible to achieve a high level of success in a short amount of time?
Success in general. And then, as you know, to prove that it all worked, I took $1 and in 180 days, I turned it into $1 million.
Also, is it possible to achieve that level of success at a young age?
Oh my God. 16 got an Emmy. What the hell? Wow. I don't know.
You see, these were questions I was asking myself at 23 years old when I set off on a 2-year challenge to earn $1 million and retire my mom. At first, I had doubts, but it wasn't until a friend of mine recommended a book called Psycho Cybernetics that I believed, yes, it was in fact possible. When I was reading through the book, I stumbled across an exercise that tells you to study the qualities of character of people that have what you want and the level of success that you're after.
I chose 2 different outliers who have achieved extraordinary success in 2 different career fields to see if I could draw parallels in their upbringing, mindset, work ethic, and mentors.
Tupac, the highest-selling rap artist of all time, selling more than 75 million records as of 2010, and Farrah Gray, the youngest self-made millionaire in the United States.
So let's take a look at their childhood and their upbringing and just what it was like growing up for them.
What clicked in your head as a child that says, I want to create something that I can make money with?
Being broke. Poverty will do it to you. When I say poor, most people think, okay, well, you at least had furniture, you at least had a car. No, we slept on the floor with the rats and with the roaches.
When I was young, I was quiet, withdrawn. I read a lot. I wrote poetry, kept a diary. I watched TV all the time. I stayed in front of a television. And I could see all these people out there in this pretend world. And I knew I could be part of it if I pretended to. The way Arnold used to look when he used to come out on Different Strokes. I used to like the lifestyle, the way he used to live. So early on, I just watched and emulated. And I thought maybe if I can be an actor and I could act like those characters, I could have some of their joy.
Oh, thank you, Mr. D.
If I could act like I had a big family, I wouldn't feel as lonely.
That's all I ever wanted to do. Ask my mama. I wanted to go to college. I went to school all the way and was ready to go to college. The only thing that stopped me was money. The time all the kids in my school was writing applications to go to college, I didn't have no lights and no electricity. And that ain't my mama's fault. You know what I'm saying? So when I think back to that, I'm not thugging for me. I'm thugging for my family. I pay all the bills. You know what I'm saying? I feed my whole family. Wrong or right, I do. And I can't stop. You know what I'm saying? And if thugging is going to make me $1 million, because it just got me platinum, then that's what I got to do constantly.
As soon as I made my first $1 million, I retired my mom and my grandmother. And I started buying real estate. I started buying actual gold and platinum and silver.
Both Farrah and Tupac had unstable childhoods, and they had to provide for their families. This was comforting to me because my family was the unstable one when I was growing up. Now, I'm not saying this is a requirement for success, but it did prove that it's possible to come from that type of environment and become successful.
So knowing that they went through that, I wanted to know what thoughts went through their mind. What were they thinking, and what was their belief level in themselves despite that environment they were growing up in?
You know, I want when they see me, they know that every day when I'm breathing, it's for us to go farther. You know, every time I speak, I want the truth to come out. You know what I'm saying? Every time I speak, I want to shiver. You know, I don't want them to be like, they know what I'm going to say because it's polite. They know what I'm going to say. And even if I get in trouble, you know what I'm saying? Ain't that what we're supposed to do? I'm not saying I'm going to rule the world or I'm going to change the world, but I guarantee that I will spark the brain that will change the world, and that's our job.
But I continued to persevere because I learned that we should never fear rejection and everything we want is on the other side of fear. I say you challenge fear. You push yourself. Every time you get nervous or fear something, you get a little bit closer to it. You do it, and then you look back like, wow, it wasn't that bad.
How we gonna be a man? How we gonna be African Americans? We out here tonight. We
You can feel the passion in their words. You know, it's like every single word they say has meaning, and they take time to make sure that every word counts. And they believed in themselves so strongly that it's even hard to question what they're saying, even if you don't necessarily agree with their opinions.
What's even more interesting to note is that one of the individuals in this video happens to be Farrah Gray's biological father. Now, Tupac is speaking at the Indiana Black Expo at 1993, and the man you're looking at is Khalid Abdul Muhammad, who was a strong political activist, and he was very outspoken in what he believed in.
I believe that the liberation and salvation of the black nation must be brought about by black people gaining a thorough knowledge of self after our 500 to 6,000 year Holocaust, where we have lost over 600 million. And so I believe that that education process must be a process of two steps: inspiration and information. So I seriously give information, but black people are a people of rhythm and spirit, so I also give inspiration.
Dr. Khalid was well respected and was the national assistant to Louis Farrakhan of the Nation of Islam at one point in time, after which he became the national chairman of the new Black Panther Party. So, there are actually more parallels between Tupac and Farrah than one may assume. Afeni Shakur was also a very prevalent member of the Black Panthers. You take Dr. Khalid and Afeni Shakur, both very strong political activists. They have a huge impact on who their kids were, how they were raised, and who they can become as individuals. So knowing that their belief was that strong in what they believed in, you know, let's take a look at how that translated into working to get what they believed in.
Constantly writing, constantly working. From the studio straight to the set, out of town, straight to the commercial he had to film, straight back into the studio, straight to those cats' studio he promised he'd go by. Doesn't really want to go over there, but he knows how much it'll mean to them. Tupac Shakur was the hardest working man in hip-hop, hands down. His work proves that. Since he's died, more work's come out than before he was alive.
Everybody be ready to go to sleep, Pac can still be working. You know, let's go, let's go, let's go.
I was well introduced very early to rejection. When I went out with those rocks, some people didn't think that was cool. They had no need for it. People slammed the door on me, cussed me out, all kind of stuff. But I just made a few dollars on that door. And then I said, well, let me go to this one. I made some money there, but the person in between cussed me out. So, you know, you kind of get a chance to see very early that not everybody's going to tell you no.
Both Tupac and Farrah worked tirelessly, and you can tell that it stems from their beliefs and how strong their beliefs are. So based on that, I still haven't quite figured out how they're learning, you know, like who is teaching them? Who is teaching them the ropes? Do they have mentors? And if so, who are they?
And you can see the lessons that I miss when you talk to me. You can see where I haven't had a father when you talk to me. You know what I'm saying? You can see where I spent a lot of my time in the streets when you talk to me. Because the words that I say are not words that come from a mother's mouth or a father's mouth. It's words that comes from a pimp's mouth or a prostitute or a hustler or a drug dealer. You know what I'm saying? But to me, these were my role models.
Tupac didn't have a father growing up, though he did have a stepfather during his early childhood named Mutulu Shakur, who was his mentor in his early years until he was taken away and incarcerated. Further in his career, he did have several other mentors, including Lila Steinberg, who was his musical manager, among others. Farrah's father's life was dedicated to activism, and because activism didn't quite come with a salary, it put a large financial strain on their family, which actually ended up leading to his mother leaving his father when Farrah was only 6 weeks old. Even though Farrah was raised by his mother, his father still played an important role in his life. Although they didn't see each other much, they still maintained a strong relationship, and Khalid was very proud and supportive of his son's decision to become an entrepreneur instead of following in his footsteps as a political activist. Farrah was really interesting because, yes, he did have mentors in person like Mary Rihanna and Shanto, but the majority of people that he called his mentors were authors of books that he had never met. And that was profound to me because I didn't have access to a lot of mentors, and I thought, wow, what am I going to do? And that gave me a strong sense of confidence in the fact that I should take reading books very, very seriously.
Visit the Millionaire by 25 YouTube channel at Mr. Mill by 25 to view the full expanded case study documentary of Shia LaBeouf, Farrah Gray, and Tupac Shakur.